Can I see my chat? Is that like a possibility yet, or do I gotta wait still for that? There we go. Thank you. Now I can see the chat. We're welcome in when y'all get in. We're gonna talk about dreams. I'm gonna do something like this real quick. These over here. We're gonna talk about dreams, different meanings of dreams, stuff of that nature. Mainly gonna be question based. But dreams are different from astral projection. But dreams are a way to see what your subconscious mind, even your ancestors, and seeing what messages they have for you, seeing what messages you may have missed, seeing what symbolisms, what ideas, and what things you're just kind of working through within your internal body as well. Dreams are very, very important to kind of look into. Not everyone can remember their dreams as easy as most, but if you can remember your dreams, it is important to, like, see what they're like, see what messages they hold, and as well as just keeping a dream journal, even if you don't really have recollection of like dreams when you're like asleep, but you can still have like a daydream journal whenever you catch yourself drifting off or something, just kind of marking those things down. But dreams are very important in that sense of just showing you what's going on. The characters in your dreams don't always represent the exact character. Not necessarily character. Let me rephrase that. The characters in your dreams don't necessarily represent the situation that you're facing. And this is where a lot of people get it misconstrued, because they think that when they have a dream of someone in specific, that it's them and that one person doing something, when it's really the actions of that individual that's being transpired, and then as well on a deeper sense, you and that individual on a soul level connecting and exchanging messages that the human body, or like the physical body I should say, couldn't receive and or hear at the time. And a lot of times when you're working through traumas and things of that nature, you'll end up having dreams of people, and that's just to allow you to see the effect of that individual. It's not really saying that the person's doing anything to you. Some people might say it's different than that, but it's really not. It depends on who that person is and what they were actually doing in your life. It also shows how much control you almost allow someone to have as well. But the dream state is very informative in that state. Because it really just allows you to see what's truly going on if you're able to like read it in those types of ways. But different types of dreams can mean a lot of different things, involving just again with people, places, things, events, colors, objects, whatever you're interacting with in the dream is meant for you to really digest and see. But yeah, other than that, that's just kind of a quick rundown of the dreams. But again, this is going to be more of like a Q&A type stream for about the dreams. Because a lot of people seem to be having questions about dreams and knowing what they are and things of that nature. And that's easy to kind of break down if you know how to read dreams and know about the symbolisms and things. So if anyone has any questions about dreams and what they would mean per se, or their dreams or anything of that nature, or practices to remember your dreams, that would be, ask away, because that's what I'm here for today. Well, right now at least. What do you mean by that? Yeah, I might as well get these back in order. But I don't know what you mean by that. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about dreams, how to remember them, things of that nature, this is the dream stream, I guess you could say. I don't want to say it like that. But this is the stream where we're talking about dreams. I guess I'll say it like that then. That sounds better. Dream stream does not. I'm gonna be multitasking for a minute. There's a few things I have to get done as well. I don't know why I put that there. It doesn't go there. I don't know why I'm losing that one. How was that? Well, that's good. Crystals can really benefit with dreams. The reason you would be like remembering them during the day, during doing things, is because that dream was supposed to be remembered at that time. It's like a reminder almost of saying, hey, this is what this dream was trying to warn you about or tell you about within like what you're doing. So when those aha moments happen, kind of like remember it or try your best to remember what the dream is at that point, and make note of it, so that you can really dig into the deeper meanings of why that dream is even occurring. Because if you're remembering dreams whenever you're doing a specific thing, they very closely relate. That could have to do a lot with the union of the opposites internally. If you've been having a hard time connecting with yourself on that type of level, whenever the aha moment happened, that could be relating to that. And white chalk is interesting. And do you know what the sigils look like or what they kind of gave off with that dream? Because depending on that really can really also help you with dreams, especially seeing symbolisms in dreams like that. That could show some form of like attachment, or depending on how the sigils were, it could mean some form of attachment, or it could mean some form of like protective element as well. It really depends what the sigils mean for that. Especially if you like can remember the sigils and stuff. Well, yeah, all sigils are in a circle. That's you know, you have to have a circle around the sigil. It's a circle of protection to allow that sigil to work. So all sigils have a circle around them. Having dreams about being locked in rooms by people means that you're allowing them to block you in somewhere. So you're giving someone too much power of yours. Even if you don't realize it, that's what that dream is saying, is that you're giving someone way too much power to have some form of control in your day-to-day life that shouldn't be there, which is why we don't need to externalize saying people are doing things, because when you do that, then you're just going to allow that kind of cycle to, you know, move forward and stay as strong as it needs to. So being aware of that. I forgot what crystal it is, but there's like, you can use black tourmaline, amethyst. I know those for sure for dream protection. You can do a lot of other stuff for dream protection too. You can just take like some salt and lemon juice with a little bit of water, and you can put that underneath your bed, and that can also help with uh, you know, sort of energies coming around you when you're sleeping and whatnot. But that's a good defense that some people should really do. It's really simple. I mean, you just put it underneath your bed, and then in the rising, before you use the bathroom, you flush it down the toilet, but you don't look at it. And then after that, you can go day to day. You can either take a bath after that or however, but it's important not to look at it after you flush it. Having dreams of angels can usually signifies circles of protection, or a need to begin to work with the angels and learn how to protect yourself in sort of ways like that. Or it can just mean your angels are trying to contact you, um, depending on how the dream goes, of course, and everything of that nature, because everything of the dream matters, down to like the colors and everything. I don't know what that word is. Oh, just unclear boundaries. By stating your boundaries, because when I looked up the word, it just means not having clear boundaries. So working on boundaries, working with boundary work is going to help you with that. So just when you say something, begin to mean it. Don't allow yourself to be swayed by other opinions, by other people's likings. It could also have to do with a little bit. It could either it kind of sways in between, almost like imposter syndrome, or this, I forgot what the other word is. Um, but it's like it's a lot of people pleasing tendencies that are happen because of those things. So be very aware of those. No, you can do all sorts of stuff. You can use garlic, 3 cloves of garlic, and putting those underneath your pillow can help you with sleep protection. If you're feeling haunted or stalked in the dream state, in that sense, you can do that. You can do sigil work to do that, just prayer work. You can do a circle of light ritual around yourself before you sleep as well. Those things help. Well, yeah, if you can't remember your dream, you can use lion mane mushroom that can help you remember your dreams. Blue lotus, whether it's a tea or however, it can help as well. Having dreams of pets can mean a few things. It can mean attachment to that pet. It could also mean, depending on what animal it was, it can mean whatever animal that represents. So, like if it's a dog, it could represent loyalty. Either coming upon someone who's going to have like a loyalty for you, or you needing to stand loyal on other things. If it's a cat, it can mean protection. All these things. So it all depends what animal it is. Yeah, be careful with Moldavite. Be careful with Moldavite. That is a tricky crystal to work with. But yeah, if you're having dreams of your cats, it definitely represents a protection thing. Needing to know that you are safe to move forward, knowing that you are protected, things of those natures. Um, and especially like if you had any sort of actions with the pet in your dreams, that also signifies as well. Like the location, the interactions, everything down to like everything down to the dream will always tell you something. But usually having a dream about a passed over loved one or a passed over pet shows and signifies that there is some form of protection, and depending on your relationship with them, can also depend on certain traumas or certain old attachments that you're healing from and removing. I just put the deck in order. I can do it later. I literally just now put all the cards in like order. So I don't really want to like get them out of order just yet. But I can and later on in the stream I'll do that for sure. Putting sigils either under your bed or under your pillow are helpful. Usually, for a better effect, you would put it under your pillow, just because that's where your head would lay. But under your bed also helps too. Um, if anyone does need any form of sigil work, you can always email me about it. I don't have it on the website because can only have 5 services, but I do offer sigil work as well. Independent on like how much you know about sigils or whatever, I can make summoning sigils, just basic sigils. I can do all sorts of stuff with them. Planetary sigils if you work with them. But sigils are a good way of protection. You can just use salt, you can use basil, you can use garlic, you can use black pepper. I mean, you could use black salt if you wanted to, really. And put it in a circle around your bed, or put it in a circle, or put it underneath your bed, or however, You can make a talisman to hang over your bed as well. You can use dream catchers, all sorts of stuff. If you do get a dream catcher or a talisman, it's important to cleanse them after a while, or they'll just end up breaking and everything will start, going back into you. So being careful with that. I have a few times. It's interesting. I used to when I was a kid all the time. I used to just like flop positions so much. Just to see what would happen. Then again, my bed was also in the middle of the room, which is usually a weird place to have your bed in the first place. But I had my bed in the middle of the room, so I'd always like switch positions just to like get different dreams and do different things. But as if you are having trouble like dreaming or having certain types of dreams, definitely switching your position will help. Like, it might be a little uncomfortable at first, but it will help you in those different ways. I mean, you know, falling asleep with the intention of being able to move around and control your dreams is also a thing that you can do. That helps. That kind of helps you get used to astral travel, and also can help you get rid of sleep paralysis if you do struggle with sleep paralysis. That can help you with that as well. Because sleep paralysis, even though it might seem a little scary, it's because it's coming from a lower chakra, a lower vibration. So it's more about working with whatever you have at that moment, because you can always snap out of sleep paralysis. It's something that you can refuse to have happen to you. It can still happen, but you can snap out of it quickly, is what I'm meaning to say. But sleep paralysis usually imposes of like a dream, of a warning of some sorts. Depending on how the sleep paralysis even kicks in, it all depends on that. I don't know where orbs come from. I wouldn't know. I mean, I would be careful doing that. If you do that, I would be careful. If you're gonna do something like that, I would, what is it called? My brain's not working. I would definitely do a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram if you're gonna do that beforehand, just in case. Because you never know. I mean, yeah, you could do that as well. But if you're gonna be drawing sigils on your body, you're probably gonna need to step it up a little bit than that. Because you're gonna need, because you know, you never know with sigils. Even the sigils that you find online, you got to be careful, because people, the more people use a sigil, no matter whether it's for good or bad, the more powerful it gets. And if you're dreaming about sigils, that's a lot of energy already. So you got to be careful with it, you know. Gotta be really, really, really careful with it. I've learned my lesson with messing with sigils and doing stupid shit with them. So I do my best to make sure no one else goes through that, because you gotta be careful. Sigils will destroy things if you're really not careful. Sigils will literally devour and evaporate shit. I have yeah, definitely make your own sigils so that you can infuse them with your own energy. Because I'm in a Facebook group where people charge up your sigils, like they'll charge them up for you. You don't get to really I mean, you can ask them to do it with good energy or whatever, but like, you know, people have their reasons to do whatever the fuck they want, and energy's energy, right? You just gotta be careful, because I had a sigil that I had charged up with that group, and it's like I can't use it. I had to get rid of it. I had to literally like banish and dismantle it. It was awful. Not that it was like bad, but it was too powerful, and it began to literally destroy things that I would put it on. Like it was not good. I had a desk that I put it on, and the desk legs were starting to break off of it, so I had to like dismantle it and uh, discard of it properly, which was not easy, especially when people charge energy into it. It's kind of a ass thing to do because you have to send the energy back to the rightful people and all sorts of stuff just to be safe and everything. But sigils are good. Sigils are fun. I like sigils a lot. I use sigils way too much. I literally have like, where are they at? Hold on. I have a lot of them. Basically, every is that a sigil underneath that? No. Everything in here is a sigil that I've charged up personally, and they're like my personal uses. And if I'm doing anything for anyone that needs any sort of sigil work, I'll use it. But like, look at this one. I don't know what's happening to it. I mean, fully, but I know why it's doing that a little bit. It's just you got to be careful with sigils. They'll do some crazy shit. I've had to like retrace it a few times, but it's very interesting. Sigils are always fun. Awesome. Vision boards are always good to make. They're always fun to work on. Uh I would talk with your guides to see what's going on. That, or like if you have a way to do a reading on those objects, definitely do that. If you don't have a way to do a reading on those objects, you can hit me up and we can work with that because I do readings on objects and stuff, like cursed objects and stuff of that nature, to see what you need to do to control things. But definitely talk with your guides because it seems like there's some form of like, it could be a rampant energy, or it could also be some form of like trapping energy or trickster energy, especially with the doorknob handle breaking. That could be like an entrapment type thing. So, and also like be careful of portals. There might even be somebody even trying to open a portal around you or something. Be careful of those. It really depends what's going on, but it could be a portal with all the outlets going out and the door handle. That could be a portal for sure. So be careful with that. Just ask your guides, or try and get some sort of like a deeper insight on that. Um, and if you want to, since you've been talking about sigils, you can definitely make a sigil to prevent to prevent portals from being opened around you, or to help fix energy influxes. The energy influx sigils that you could make are pretty good, but you have to be careful. And I would recommend the Theoban alphabet if you are going to use it to write on the outer circle. Other than that, you gotta just kind of need like deeper insight on it, because it could be a lot of things. It could be ancestral. It could be anything from like literally ancestral messages to like a portal, or like some form of like trickster or spirit or entity. That's the thing with stuff. Whenever you're like messing with like sigils or magic in general, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what it is in the sense, because it could literally be anything from you to something else. Okay, you have to balance it out. Let's see how we could balance out those energies. What would be a good way to balance this out? Do you do any like circle of light around? Do you do any like circle of light ritual? I would definitely do those if you're not. If you are doing a circle of light, um, let me go get the book, because I need to get the book. I got a book for everything. I swear I do. get it going. Well, if I can find it, what the hell? This is the one book I can't wait. Is that it? Oh, no, that is my Sigil book. Okay. That is not what I want. We are talking about sigils, but that's not what I want. I'm looking for my Angel Magic book. Okay, well, I can't find it. It's probably in the backpack. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna find this book. I'm gonna have to, because I need to right now anyway. I was thinking about getting it out earlier anyway. I can't find it. Okay, so I can't find the book I was gonna talk about, but it's an angel. It's angel protective magic. I have the spell written down in here, but I can't show it. If you email me, I can send it to you, but you might need to do a body of protection spell as well. If you want to email me, I can send you how to do the body of protection and stuff of that nature. But those are like, that's just calling on angels and things of that nature. Hopefully I can find that book later. If I do, I can also send you like the stuff in the book for what you can do. Yeah, and everyone has guides. Every one of us has guides. All of us have, we all have a specific angel that watches over us internally, and then we have our 3 other guardian angels. See, that's what I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the book because I need to look at the book. I could probably look it up. Hold on. Let me like do some research here. That's not it. That's not it. It's related to this one though. It's closely related to, but that's not it. I have to go to Amazon and find it. Don't tell me it's going to be one of those things that I literally just had for a certain... Oh, it is this one. Why did it look different? Okay. Who is it by? Ben Woodcroft. Okay. Here we go. That is the book you would want to get. It is $11, $11.24 on Amazon. Very, very good book. Everyone that I know who's had this book, it works. I was recommended it whenever I was in a sticky situation, and those spells fucking kick ass. It has a glamour spell in there that does not do anything bad, but it glamours your enemies to be as children. So it reminds you of your enemies, it reminds you of that your enemies are still innocent children deep down, and it literally glamours them internally for you so that they can't do anything to harm you externally. It's fucking amazing. It works so well. But there's a whole thing that you have to do before doing any of those rituals, and then there's like a second ritual that you have to do for certain other ones as well. But that book right there, this book right here will literally, like, it is so good. Especially if you're wanting to work with angels in that sense, that's a good place to start. That is a good place to start because they're super simple. You can literally, like, if you remember how to do them, like I can do I can do one of them in my head, but I just don't say them out loud. I literally do the whole thing in my head because I've done it so many times. But it's such a good book. But I would mainly do the body of protection. That's what you would have to do before doing any sort of spell within that book. That's one of the main ones you would have to do before doing any other ones, because it's going to protect you, obviously. But it's a super easy spell. It doesn't take that long. It tells you the exact pronunciations of how to pronounce different names of the angels and stuff of that nature. It's very informative. It's very good. How do you find your guardian angel? There's multiple ways you can find your guardian angel. Um, you can go to someone that knows how to find them. Not many people in the public know how to do those things. You can also just ask out loud who your guardian angel is and meditate on it. It might take a day or two for them to come through, but yeah, it can definitely come through. Yeah, you need to know your birth month, your birth date, and your birth time. Not your birth year, but your birth time. To help you with that. And yeah, there's also in books too. I just don't have the only book I have tells you those other three: the moral, the physical, and the moral, the physical, and the other one that I can't remember. The soul. The soul, the moral, and the physical. I was gonna say spirit, but I knew that wasn't it. But those are the ones I can tell you. I can't necessarily tell you the full guardian one. But you can also kind of tell who your guardian angel is by like whatever soul tribe you're like popping into. Most people who are over here, like their guardian angel is Michael. That either Michael, Raphael, or Gabriel. I've noticed that heavily. Um, but you know, it all depends. Not everyone has Michael as a guardian angel. In fact, it's weird for Michael because when Michael chooses you and you start to work with Michael, things begin to shift quickly and you have to be brave and take leaps and move in different ways, or things will just fall apart quickly. It's not easy working with Michael. It really is not. I will be the first to admit that. I will be the first and the last to admit that, honestly. Because most of the angels you're gonna know about are just gonna be the Enochian books. Um, because for some reason, whenever it gets to, because really all the angels and all the demons would have been told to you in the book of Solomon, because Solomon was the one who was blessed enough with the wisdom to create the seals for all 72 demons and all 72 angels that rule the realm. But they took that out and then they put it in the book of Enoch. They put some of them in the Bible. Most of them are in Psalms. Most of the angels that you are going to hear of the Kabbalic 72 are in Psalms, but you're not really told that. It's very interesting. You have to go down the occult rabbit hole to really figure that one out. Um, but other than that, they're in the book of Enoch. Psalms 91. I don't know. I don't remember which one that is. Why am I looking in here? I could literally just go to the site. But here, I'll do y'all one better. You can go there and find out all the information as well. It tells you the Bible verse that they're in. It tells you the demons that they rule over. It's informative. It's all there. But that's a good resource right there too. Yeah, see, I have the dictionary of angels, so I have all the sigils in that as well. um, I also have a PDF that has well, actually, it's not only a PDF, but it's also in a book that I have of seals for the angels. So not only can you invoke and summon angels, but you can also trap them. And I have books that kind of teach you and show you how to trap angels. Um, I haven't necessarily found a purpose for that, you know, because that's not really my thing to do, but it exists out there. I think the only reason you would really want to do that is when you're working with Solomonic magic and the energy kind of gets catawonky. I believe that's the only purpose that I personally could find with what I would be doing. But other than that, some people just use that to trap angels to keep them from stalking you. It's like using planetary seals to lock in planets and prevent them from being of help with people. Like some people will, you know, use the seals and sigils of Pluto on people to keep them stuck in like a certain cycle because Pluto rules the underworld. So sometimes the people is trying to like soul swap with you or destiny swap or whatever, they'll use sigils of Pluto to try and keep you stuck. And if if you do feel it that way, is that stuff is happening to you, you can use I'm not gonna say you can. You should probably go to someone that knows what they're doing. First of all, but they can use different types of seals of Pluto. They can use the actual the square of Pluto to help you out with that. Yeah. See, that's the thing. When a sigil does not have a circle around it, it's a different thing. It's still a sigil. They work differently. The circles are for summoning. When you are using a sigil to summon things or to invoke things, it's going to have a circle. If you're working with the planets, you're going to be using squares around your sigils. There's going to be planetary squares. They're mostly used with the Hebraic alphabet, um, but most times people will make sigils out of them as well. I tend to make sigils like well here's a good example. Like here is a summoning sigil and then here is a planetary sigil for Saturn. That's a sigil. And there's different ways you could do planetary sigils and stuff of that nature. They are very different. I used to make sigils without the circle around them when I first started, and then one day I was just told to start making summoning sigils, and that's what I've been doing ever since. What about triangles? I believe I have one of those too. I think that's an Eris. That's an Eris sigil. Let me go see. Let me go see because I know I swear I have one. I've made only one because those are complicated as fuck. At least for me, because I haven't like done much with them. I don't have a triangle one. I'm pretty sure they're Eris ones, if I'm not mistaken. But you can use those and arrows, so you can shoot those at people. Be careful with that. You know, that's knowledge I shouldn't really be talking about. But dependent depending on the shape around the sigil is going to depend on what it's doing. Exactly. Like if you're ever gonna do like sacred geometry, same thing kind of applies for that too. It's a little different, and by a little I mean a lot, because it's not involving any sort of like sacred alphabet, but the symbolisms in that and the shapes that happen and concur inside of the sacred geometry can definitely be different. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with sigil magic. There's just it's fucking ridiculous, dude. It's crazy. That's interesting. I've never heard of them, but that's interesting. I'm about to go check them out. Because there's a lot of stuff that people just don't talk about. I understand like closed practices and stuff, but for the most part, I don't think using salt is a closed practice. And most everything you're gonna be doing in life is gonna involve a little bit of salt or sugar or honey, depending on what you're doing, or a mirror. I don't know. It all depends. Um, be careful of drawing sigils in reverse. I'll say that much for sigils. Sigils are fun. This is supposed to be about dreams, and we talk about sigils, but you know what? That's just how it's gonna be. Anyone have questions about dreams or sigils or whatever at this point? We're just talking about whatever. It's just what's going on. You know, like if you're doing grid, I don't know why I'm talking about this now. Damn. If you're gonna do grid work, you can also do sigils in within grid works as well. Like if you're gonna put your crystals on a grid, you can also use sigil works with that as well, and that can be very, very, very beneficial or dreadful, depending on what you're doing and if you mess up or not. That's most likely a dream of freedom. Usually, when you have dreams of nakedness, it's a vulnerability state. Depending on where you're at, it could be a fear vulnerability or an empowerment. With the wings, that's higher knowledge, and since you were flying around, that represents freedom. So you could just be breaking out of a shell. Uh, Not really, because your destiny is not locked with your name. Your destiny is locked with your soul, not with your name. The name that you're given is more to relate with the 3D realm than the external. Some people are given names in a spiritual sense. I mean, it's all given to you in a spiritual sense, right? Because all names have meanings. But when it's time for the soul to evolve, though, the name won't matter. Some people change their name. I changed my name when it was time for me to. Some people don't. It all depends on where you're coming from and what practice you're doing. Because like that name could even just mean like, because you can even name a child something to curse them. If you are familiar with that type of stuff, you can definitely do that. Um, because you can try and mess up things of that nature. Ow. Now you're just getting tender. I gotta like soak you after this. It's not as warm, so that's good. Sorry, I was checking on my finger. I need to check what stage it's on because it's been acting funky today, which is good. It's like a good funky. Well, that's good. But yeah, just everything that Schizo Prophet said as well with the dreams, with dream state, and just how we work in that sense. 'Cause it's just a bunch of inputs and outputs at the end of the day. And things that you see in the dream realm are just different types of sensations rev relativities. Oh my God, why can't I say words today? Between between what you were experiencing and what you're currently feeling in that time of rest. Yeah, getting a dream, learning how to read your dreams is a super important skill. Uh, uh, I forgot this site. I think I have it somewhere. Yeah, here it is. But if you need help with like reading your dreams or anything, or the symbolisms of dreams, this is a really good site to go to. But that might have been for you, Infinite. That might have been a guide trying to show you how to excel from certain types of dimensions. Because usually, when it's time for you to explore other areas, other dimensions, other places within the mind, within the universe, and whatnot, a guide will be there to showcase it for you and guide you through it. Now that's a good site to go to for it. It was a site that I was guided to one day, and I just started looking up stuff in it, and it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty accurate from what my ancestors and I talk about, what I meditate with, and everything. It's very very accurate with it. Yeah, that might have been a stabilizer for your dream. A lot of times that does happen because it's like, it's the same thing for like if you're going to do like a sleep channeling event or something, you're gonna need someone there with you to help ground, or like um, even back in the day, whenever someone was possessed and or like embodying a different spirit, they would have an interpreter there that would know grounding techniques, and they would be there doing those things. And it's the same thing. It's to even out the experience so that you're able to move forward and don't get hurt. Because you can and will get lost in the astral realms, and you can get stuck in the dream realm as well. You can really get yourself fucked up really easily if you're not careful with it. If you're not ready to go to like new levels within your dream state, within your consciousness, you can fuck yourself up, and it's not good. It is not good at all. Because you can get literally stuck in the astrals. Like you can be held hostage there by other energies and other entities. If not careful. Well, that's interesting. Uh, hmm. I just got a very interesting message that I have to respond to because that should not have happened. um, I'm only laughing because I'm kind of nervous about about what's going on with this. But yeah, you can. It's like being stuck in a coma but being awake. You'll literally have repetition dreams for an extended amount of time until you learn how to break free from it, which can mean different things. How do you spell that? Oh. Alright, back to this. Yeah, you need to make sure that you're having protection in the astrals. But if you're trying to free people within the astrals, also be careful of that as well. Not to say that you won't get hurt, because then if you're doing that type of stuff, you're definitely on some sort of astral mission or in the dream realm mission. So you are going to have that type of protection for sure. But what you need to do is really talk with your guides about what that was about and what you could do to free all those souls, because a lot of times people end up going to dream states and astral realms in order to free other people who are trapped without knowing, and they could just be complete strangers, they could be people that you know or people connected to people that you know, however. But if you're called to do that sort of thing, definitely be in really close contact with your guides and ask them like what's going on with that, not in the sense of like fear, but like what can I do to free these souls and what can I do for protection in that sense, because there could be things that you can do. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing and now everything's exploding. How do I get back to you? Oh, you're the one behind my phone. That's what you're doing. But definitely do that. A lot of people go to have missions within the dream realm as well, or in the astral realms, depending on where you're going when you sleep. So it all matters. It all like depends. So with the hospital dream, I'm not too sure about that one. What was do you have more context for that one? Because off bat, I can't tell you too much about that. Because hospitals are kind of weird when it comes to dreams. Especially if you're going in an elevator. That can mean a lot of different things. But yes, some things will and can lure you in if you are not careful. I cannot see this email. Oh. Okay, word. Awesome. Cool. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that happened. That could have been, be careful with that. I would definitely ask your guides what was going on, because that could be one of two things. That could either be a reconfiguration or a removal of certain things. So definitely ask your guides if you're kind of like confused about that, what's going on, because if it was like a reconfiguration, figure out what it reconfigured for you so you can work with that more in the dream state. And if it was removal of something, figure out what was removed, just in case it was something that wasn't of like divinity, that was removing things from you, not being removed, but was removing things from you. So just being careful of that. Always ask your guides of things. If you're getting anything added or removed from you in a dream state, talk to your guides about what's going on, please. Don't just assume. You need to talk to your guides with that stuff, because that can mean a multitude of things. Let me just go over this one. Definitely be careful of that. Then go see what was done heavily on that, because if it felt like a rework of that, that could have been an implementation of some form of archon or something of that nature, or some form of like seal. So be careful with that and ask your guides what that was, because if it was a seal, you need to get that removed immediately. If it was an archon, you just need. I can send you, like, if you email me, I can send you different types of like archon removal stuff, to just listen to, because it's just like frequency works and stuff. But other than that, I would definitely talk with your guys about what was going on with that, because if it's a seal, it needs to be removed, because it's that seal is either blocking you or causing some, or it could, excuse me, if I can just talk, damn, or it could cause some form of like repetition with the emotional state or dream state. So just be careful with that. I love multitasking. What is that? I don't need to know about that. Yeah, be careful of that. Especially if you are gonna start bringing souls back in that sense. I've done that work. It's not easy. It's not. It's yet. It's very difficult. You have to be very, very specific with things. Um, so definitely talk with your guides about what's going on with that. Get a reading. Do something, because that is something that needs to be looked into, um, heavily. I usually talk with my guides about whatever dream I have. Even if I wake up at like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, I'll sit there, um, and like ask my guides like what was going on with that, and I'll like lock it in my brain. So when you're falling asleep or you're losing consciousness within that dream, um, it can mean a sense of losing yourself, so you're needing to ground more, or it could be you going into a deeper level of your own consciousness. Usually when you have a dream inside of a dream, it's because wherever you went at, whatever dimension you're in, that body, that vessel that you're entering, needed you in specific in your consciousness to be able to travel it to a realm that it's going to. So that could be what's going on as well, but it's usually involving a deeper. Damn, I gotta do something else for it. Okay, hold on. I gotta get another book. I gotta get a book for a different reason. Where is it in the other place? It is in the other place. And it's literally right here. Yes. Awesome. I don't know. Let's see. Where is that page at? But yeah, usually when you have a dream, inside of a dream, it's because your consciousness in the 3D needs to be put into another vessel that you're very familiar with. It could be a vessel in an alternate universe. It could be a vessel that you own on a different plane, but it needed you and your support to be able to go further in. Please do not ask me to go. Let's see. Where is it at? That's not what I wanted to look at. That's not what I needed. But yeah, when you're going deeper, definitely practice this is birth. This is the birth section. We don't need birth. We need the other thing. This is predicting the future. Is not what I want either. But yeah, sorry, I got hit with the email with work I was helping someone with a while ago, and I gotta find a prayer in this book real quick. But I'm me and multitasking. It ain't nothing. That's not it. No, you're not late. You're good. We're technically just getting started. We had a whole detour talking about sigils for the longest time. So, which was really fun. I love talking about sigils. I might have to do one about sigils. I have a lot of stuff to talk about. I might do one about sigils. And then one about servitors and egregores and all sorts of stuff. Reba slaves? Why was okay? So this one. Okay, so what's the prayer? But no, you're not late. Does it not have a prayer? I thought it did. There's no way. I gotta go look it up somewhere. That's okay. Anyway. me spell words right. There we go. Awesome. Alrighty. So anything about dreams? Anything else? Any questions about those? If not, we can talk about other things. But I had to go do something real quick. Which should be done. Hopefully. I don't think I need to send anything else to my knowledge. Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome in, welcome in. How are we? Reoccurring dreams of new houses in strange worlds. There could be a need to travel or to switch locations for that. Usually when you're having dreams about houses being in different places and in different worlds, it's a sign for like relocation. Yeah, people can definitely do that with their dreams. A lot of times, when you are in the dream state, you can just have dreams about actual locations that you're about to go to, or actual locations in Earth. Like you don't have to just astral project to random places. Like you can astral project into someone's house. You can astral project wherever you want when it comes to that. When people are able to recite those things of that nature, it's more of a form of astral projection than a dream state. For the body to be even astral project, it has to go within the dream state anyway. Like the theta wave of the brain is what dictates that those realms. You bit off 3 snakes' heads. That could represent taking back power over your life, or trying to remove certain things in life out of your head. So like certain thought patterns, certain thought forms. Because if you're biting the head off the snake, any sort of like violence towards someone, and you're doing the violence towards something, is a form of taking your power back from it. And snakes are representative of life, as they are the sine wave. Now, depending on what kind of snake it was, it depends on what's going on with that as well. Like if you know the snake types, that can be different things as well. But in general, just seeing a snake and not knowing what it is, it has something to do with life. It depends on how much you know, how far you can break down the dream when it comes to this stuff. But definitely, if you are working um, with black snakes, that has a lot to do with the unconscious realm. Things growing within the subconscious realms, things that you aren't really aware of but are still affecting you. So it could just be a lot of unconscious blockages, and trauma causes that a lot too. The more you work with yourself with trauma, the easier it will be able to remember dreams, because a lot of times when you have those traumatic experiences, they might pop up in your dreams and you might not be able to remember those things because your brain is protecting you from remembering that. What about wrestling with the king brown snake? I don't know much about king brown snakes, but when you're wrestling with something, that means you're actively fighting it. Okay, so that's okay. So brown snakes has a lot to do with stability, security, or natural instincts. With it being a king, that'd be your masculine sense. So you're fighting. It's like you were. Is for that it would be like you're fighting what you need to do, the physical efforts that it would take to create stability, to create that comfort energy. You're fighting with that sense. What song is this? Oh, it's not even what I want to listen to. That's why I'm listening. That's what it is. What the hell? I was like, what is this? But that's for that. Um, but definitely, anytime you're actively fighting something, that means you're struggling with it and you're currently fighting it. If you're being like taken advantage of, raped, sexually assaulted, beat up, or stabbed, killed, that means that thing is having that sort of power over top of you. Um, and depending on the actions is dependent on what's happening. So if you're having dreams of being essayed or raped, that has a lot to do with your sexual energy being conflicted due to someone. If you're being stabbed or shot or killed in a dream, that has a lot to do with someone taking like your power away from you in a life sense. So someone's opinions, or you have someone on a pedestal that's keeping you from actually moving forward. Snakes biting you. Um, Let me think. Because biting would be a form of combat for sure. Where were they biting? Do you know like that, or is this just like a random example? Do you know you know what I mean? Because again, biting is like a form of combat in that sense. And since snakes bite whenever like they're threatened and things of that nature, or to defend themselves, it's like something in life is trying to defend you from something, and it might defend on like where you're being bit. Like if it's biting your throat, it's trying to either protect or keep you from saying something, or protect you while you say something. Things of those nature. It all depends. But usually it would mean something trying to be restrictive. In what context? In what context are you talking about with the man without pants or underwear? In that sense, like what were their actions in that dream? Because that just by itself just means that the masculine energy is vulnerable, is in a state of being vulnerable on the forearm, and the forearm is like what? That's the heart chakra. I think it's the heart. It is the heart. I am on a ball today. So yeah. So it's something to do with your heart. You could feel like you've had a lot of betrayals that's affected your heart chakra. Um, is the forearm? Was it the right forearm or the left forearm? That's another thing. We're gonna break it down a little bit. Presenting himself to me. Um, So if they were presenting themselves to you, it could either mean you need to become more vulnerable with your masculine energies, or that there's some form of masculine that is trying to be more vulnerable around you in your energy, in your left. So it's something to do with spirituality in that sense, or your spiritual self. Um, when it comes down to that. So it could be something with your spiritual heart. There could be a spiritual journey, a spiritual thing that you're trying to do that would cause your heart chakra to be more full. That life is almost feeling like it's stopping. Like it's almost a 501 scenario, you could say, where you're just fighting against the life and fighting against what people would think about you doing something, but on a more spiritual sense rather than a physical sense. Rebelling against like, you know what I mean, like how spirituality is like taboo, or like becoming less, but it still kind of is. Like certain practices are still taboo. It's more of just like following what you need to do spiritually rather than allowing the physical to stop you. Like some people are afraid of doing and stepping into magic because they feel like that's a bad thing to do, and they're falling for that dogma line. But sometimes you're called to step into those fields for specific reasons. um what does it mean when you see Siamese twins with 6 legs? So 6 is God, this or spiritual sense. Were they different gender or no? Was it like male female, or is it male male female female for the Siamese twins? Because that matters. Both female. Hmm. So that changes up a little bit now, because it couldn't be that. So if they're both female with 6 legs, it's something with the spiritual sense with females. You could be trying there. So it could be one. It could be like a few things. It could either be you need to match a certain feminine energy within the spiritual sign, or it could be you needing to control a bit of your feminine energy in the sense of creating things with your feelings and emotions in rapid sense. 6 is a very spiritual number. 5 represents the physical, your 5 senses. 6 is your sixth sense, clairvoyant, your clairs, and all that stuff, right? And since it's with the two females, that has a lot to do with the feeling state, the heart state. So it's something about the heart state that you're either needing to connect to get a greater benefit from, or to disconnect from a little bit because you're too involved within that heart state. Like there's either a too much, there's either imbalance because there's too much or too little with that going on. But being aware of that as well with just anything to do with twins, it's very interesting because it's either if they're the same gender, it's a little bit complicated. If they're opposite genders, it makes it a little bit easier. But usually when it's the same gender, it's conflicting energies within that one realm. They both had baby girls. Whew. There's a lot going on. I'm multitasking a lot right now. I don't know. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. That's all I'm gonna do. Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, how did you? I was about to say, how did you know that they both had baby girls? What? But at the same time, I was like, that can't be it, because I looked up at your last message and it was about the black snake, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it does a little bit, but not really. So I didn't say anything about it. But of course, love you too. No problems. I'm here to help. I'm here to do as much as I can. It's been an interesting day today, to say the least. And we just like teaching at the end of the day. Uh, oh, what? Really? I'm not. That just makes me sad. There's no way Pathologic 3 comes out. What? I wanna get it so bad. It's awful. I can't. Sorry, one of my friends sent me. I'm upset now a little bit. That's a buzzkill a little bit. One of my favorite games ever, Pathologic. They made a second one in like 2019, and then they were gonna do like 3 DLCs for the different life paths you could choose. It's a very spiritual game. But instead of that, they made a whole new one for the third one where you play as a doctor, or an herbalist, I should say. No, he is the doctor because he's not the Buddha, so he is like a normal doctor. But I kind of want to play um, his path because it's interesting. Anyway, but that game is coming out soon, and I'm obsessed. That's literally where this tattoo comes from. It's a symbol in the game that means one that knows all. And I felt a huge calling to get it. So it's a very interesting game. I wouldn't play the first one because it's a bit dark. Yeah, there's a healer. There's a channel a changeling, and then there's a like an actual like a butcher is what they call him because he cuts people open, so they call him a butcher for that sense, right? That just kind of makes sense. But in the original game, you got to choose which path life you chose. In the second game, you got to choose between the Buddha, which is the actual healer, um, and the DLC that had a little bit of the butcher's timeline, but it didn't let you actually do much with it. And the third game that they're releasing allows you to play the full like game as the butcher. But the game takes place within like a 2 week span because there's a plague that breaks loose and you have to cure it. You literally go like I'm not gonna spoil too much of it, but you literally go to the heart of Earth, like the heart of Earth, and you have to you have two choices, which is either to save Earth or flood it, because the army has well you have a third choice really, which is to let the army go around and fucking kill people who have the plague and not cure a damn thing. So obviously I went the herbal route, and I learned how to play that game fully. It's really fun. Anyway, let me get back to this. Oh, you might be a seer then, or have some form of seer abilities kicking in, Yvette, with that happening. Mm. Lots of things you don't want to see though. That's the unfun part about being a seer. Unfortunately, you have to kind of just see those types of things because they're meant for you to see. Unfortunately, I know what you're talking about. Not actually, but I can relate to it. It's one of those things where you really just have to be prepared for that and ask your guides what the meanings of certain things are when you see them that are like not of the best interest. Hmm. Yeah, see, a lot of times that happens. Sometimes even with what's interesting with animals, because I remember this as a child and it traumatized me for a while. Um, I went to school, and when I was at school, I got a weird like vision that my dog was dead. It recently had a snake bite. It got bit in the eye, on the eyeball, by a snake, by a copperhead in my woods. And I knew it didn't have long to last, but one day I was in class and I was hearing like a voice talk to me as if my dog was dead, and I didn't see my dog like dead, but I seen him like laying on a table, and I didn't know what was going on. And I got home and I was like, "Hey mom, where's Penny?" And she was like, "Oh, Penny died while you were at school." And I'm smiling now because it kind of made it like it's funny because of how quick I reacted, but the minute that my mom's she didn't even say the word died. This before she even said the full word, I was already like crying full tears because I already knew what was happening. Um, but it was a very interesting experience to say the least. Um, but I learned my lesson about letting the dogs run the woods after that because I would usually go run the woods with my dogs, and then one day we forgot to let them back in, and the snake got them. When you spit out your teeth, that has a lot to do with confidence. Um, and when you're running on all fours, that's more of a feral thing. So that could be your animalistic instincts kicking in as well. Your rational minded self kind of controlling things more. Um, and interesting, like with the whole chasing thing as well. Be careful of who you're around when it comes down to people having things of yours, because when there people are stealing things from your dreams, depending on what they're stealing, it represents different things. So they could be stealing like ideas, not necessarily stealing them from you, but stealing your passion from doing those ideas. stealing the ideas and the passions that you can have towards love and things of that nature by doing certain actions and acting upon people in certain ways to make you feel that way. Um, it's always your glasses, yeah. So it's like, but they're trying. So it could just be people playing in your face as well. Like they're trying to play in your face, and you know about it, and that's why that you're running on all fours in that animalistic energy because you know that there's something fishy going on, and it's like part of you wants to go out and attack, and it's like, why the fuck are you doing this? You want to be confronted with it, but you know that you necessarily can't do that at the time, and the spitting out of this of the teeth could just mean there's a confidence thing or you're holding back your tongue on that. So be careful with that. Really sit back and think if you are going to confront someone about doing that. Don't just bark at them and yell at them in that sense. Really think about it because this could also be a warning that if you do begin to act out in the animalistic way, it's going to lead you down a path that's not going to be a benefit for anyone. Even though it might make you feel good in the moment, you have to worry about the side effects. So being aware of that. I'm talking about two different things right now. Let you join? Oh, you're already in. What's up? You believe? Yeah, shapeshifters are a real thing. Everyone's a shapeshifter. Whenever you act differently around one person than another, you're shapeshifting. You're changing your form. Shapeshifting is just changing your form. Shape is a form, and shifting is to move from one place to another. You know what I mean? No, you don't need a link. You can just type the stuff that you're trying to say in here. You're not. I don't do those group lives. I don't do that. And even if I did, it would be with very specific people, and I would have to talk to them beforehand. I ain't letting people jump up like that. Especially the people that's been coming in the chat recently. Oh my goodness, I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face. I'd be giggling too much about it. What's my most important goal? To free myself. Truly, to be sovereign, honestly. Just to be sovereign is my most important goal. To be one that knows thyself so much that being lost is never an option. That's a goal. Oh, truly. To be sovereign, to be in control of my own life without any external events being able to change it, including a worry of finance, including a worry of people around me that would like or dislike, which that one isn't really a big one, but without fear or a need for control by the governments or anything of that nature, to have everything built up by self, for self, ran by self and everything. That's what it is to be sovereign. Not fully. I will tell you that right now. I am not fully sovereign. Um, because I am still under the restrictions of finance. I am under the restriction of seizures and not being able to drive. Well, I can solve that one by just getting taxis and shit. But finance is something that everyone has a struggle with being sovereign from. Not everyone, but most. Yes, past lives can definitely be shown through dreams. I have had multiple dreams of my past selves being murdered, and there was one where I had to resuscitate myself, and it was very weird. Yeah, finance, like money, income, things of that nature. Um, mm. How did that make you feel, misunderstood? How did that make you feel? And what about being drugged in a dream? Um, what? Okay, that's a dumb question. I was gonna say, I was about to just ask, is it, was it self-inflicted or was it externalized? But if you're being drugged in a dream, be careful of your feelings towards someone. Are you believing someone to be something because you enjoy their idea, because you enjoy their physical being? Because that's a form of being drugged as well. Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm being as true of a version of myself as I can possibly be at this exact time. I'm not necessarily fighting capitalism in a sense. I'm more fighting the limitations on self that would bring in the finance that is needed. Because at the end of the day, it's less of a capitalist thing and more of an internal boundary that you have that's kind of being externalized and seen. Hmm. So be careful of. Do you have like a fear, a big one or a small one of being seen, or like of attention? Do you not like big crowds or stuff? And no, I don't know much about orbs and their colors. Depending on what you're asking, I mean, like if you're gonna refer it to angels, I know a little bit about that, but I don't know them off the top of my head. But other than that, not too sure. Why did Splice open? Why do I want you open? What am I doing? Okay, hold on. Let me think about that now. Why did Splice open? What do I got to Splice? What am I putting? Gee, never mind. And thank you about the haircut compliment. Can I find that out? You can find that out for sure. There's multiple things that you can do, but if you're asking if me personally can figure that out, I can, but you'd have to email me about that because there's a few things that we would have to do to get down to that. Not only that, but there would be specific questions that would need to be asked and everything that, though I could ask on stream, wouldn't necessarily be of good benefit because some of them would get very interpersonal. Especially if you are an incarnation of a certain deity, it would get very personal to that degree. So, if you would feel like DMing me about that, I definitely could help you with that. Email me. But yeah, for that type of stuff, it's very important um, to know someone who can do that. And also, it just like really depends. So we can talk about that and stuff for sure. Um, it's one of those things that you can't just like. It's either you know or you don't know, and if you're being told about it, then there's like a whole order of things that kind of have to go down. Uh, I have not read any of the extra biblical gospels. I haven't been called to read any of them, so no. I usually don't read something unless I'm called to. It could even be like as well you needing to be asked certain questions to be awakened to it, because sometimes people just don't know until they're like given a key. Well, not even a key, but like a door to open with that key. Right, I get that completely, Kay. I get that 1000%. Trust me, I do. When it comes down to that stuff. Why not open that book? Oh. Yeah, that's basically deja vu, which is just a French word, really. I don't really know the Americanized version of that. It could just be memories. You can say golden nuggets. You could say the golden brick road from Wizard of Oz. You could say a lot of things. But that's basically what you're talking about with that. Why do you keep launching The Sims? Stop. What's going on? One of my friends messaged me. Now there's like spam opening and closing games. I'm not. I'm gonna go on Do Not Disturb. They'll get the hint. I can't. I can't talk right now. I'm working. There you go. But no, you're not alone on that, K, at all. Trust me. There's a lot of people who feel that sort of way. Yeah, see, that's what I know. They're trying to like tell me to like relax. I don't. I just. What? It's one of those things. I'm in teaching mode, and they got me multitasking, and I'm all over the place. Oh, good. It is 8 o'clock. If no one has any questions, I might as well get off and like enjoy some time or something. I don't know. I'm always working. I gotta take a break at some point. No, actually, I don't want. Like that's the thing. When I'm in work mode, I don't want to stop. I can't. Yeah, I played a lot of The Sims way back in the day. But yeah, if no one else has any other questions, and if you do, don't be afraid to ask them. I'm gonna head off and do some other stuff, I guess. I think that's why Splice opened up immediately, is to tell me to work on music again. But yeah, I'll probably go do that then. But thank you all for stopping by. I haven't even like, I haven't done any sort of like posting in the chat. I've been off all day. Hold on. So anyway, let me, there we go. Anyway, I'll post that one last time. Thank you all for stopping here. I'm glad to have these conversations. We'll be back tomorrow, with something different. Probably doing, well, if I'm gonna try and do 2 card pulls every day. I think that's just gonna be the collective reading type thing that we're gonna be doing. But regardless, thank you all for being here. It's been lovely. I love each and every one of you all, to the moon and back, tenfold and forever, and I will see y'all later.